everyone, it's time once again for the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful chat moderator and icon creator, Danny Nixon. Hello, Danny.
Hello, everybody.
It's a double entendre. Danny makes all of the images for the show, or for Geekvolution, but he creates icons. Like, down the road, there will be people you will know of because of Danny Nixon. He's an icon creator. I don't know why I went with icon.
I don't know. I was trying to figure out where you were going with icon, because that's not typically like a superhero
No, I
nickname.
was trying to... Oh, yeah? I think there is... No, I think there is a guy named Icon, isn't there?
It is, but I was more thinking like there's the Amazing Dan Torrey, there's like Sensational Spider-Man type of things. I was more thinking it was like the icon or the iconic.
Yeah, no, I used that instead of a logo for whatever reason. And I guess I could have said iconic. The iconic logo the iconic icon creator, Danny Nixon. Anyway, here he is in all of his magnanimous glory. Everybody, thanks a lot for being here. If you're watching this live, thanks for watching after the fact if you're doing that as well. We're going to jump right into things real quick after a couple of very brief announcements. First of all, we last show didn't get to any regular questions because we had a lot of super chats. And once again, thanks as always to everybody for supporting us. We really appreciate it. We will, of course, be taking the super chats all the way through this show, and we will prioritize them. But I want to make sure that some of the really cool questions from last time got answered. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. We're going to start tonight with 3 of those, and I'm not going to take, hopefully, a quarter to half of the show on them. And then we'll start in with the super chats. We've already got one, and you guys feel free to leave questions all the way through tonight. We'll get to as many of them as we can. Again, if you leave a question as a super chat, give us a little donation. We will obviously make sure that that gets answered tonight, no matter what happens, barring a tornado or the apocalypse. And
Not to be confused with X-Men Apocalypse.
You know what, though? Even a tornado, I can, because I'm in a basement, so I'm good. I mean, I'm in Kansas. There's more of a possibility for a tornado here. But I don't know if you guys ever get tornadoes in Texas.
Yeah, actually, quite often.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's a national pastime in Texas to go out and look at the tornado when there's a tornado warning. And
we have watch that here, too. Yeah, my mom always liked to go storm chasing.
Oh, no. See, I'm not for all the like storm chaser stuff. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I like to stay bunkered down somewhere.
Bunkered down.
Bunkered down is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I like to stay where it's safe so I can keep all of my personal belongings safe.
Are you like John Goodman in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and you're like building your bunker in case some like horrible catastrophe happens, and you got like all the conspiracies figured out, and you're just like, I got Twinkies to last me a decade. Like,
no, I'm not a doomsday prepper. I routinely make fun of doomsday preppers. So if you're a doomsday prepper, I apologize, but I will be making fun of you.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so the doomsday prepper thing. Let me weigh in on this for a minute, because it's dumb if you're like super conspiratorial and you're like, there's going to be a revolution and we're all going to, or like it's the end times or whatever. Like, that's going a little bit too far. But I get being prepared. I get the kind of Boy Scout motto thing.
No, certainly. Being like,
have a bunch of dry goods in your basement in case something ever happened, and like make sure to pay your house off so that like you own the place you live in, and I that's all practical to me.
Yeah, I don't consider that like doomsday prepping, because that's just rainy day prepping. I would say that's being prepared. That's doing what you're supposed to do, especially if you're like me and live in an area that frequently floods and frequently has tornadoes and just experiences bad weather. It's smart to be prepared for that kind of stuff. But the kind of like the end is nigh kind of doomsday prepping, I'm not for. I'm not with all that kind of stuff.
Madman asks if I just happen to have that movie on hand to make that comment. No, I did not. This was a request from Patreon from Guidi. I just watched that yesterday, and I just shot a review for it today. That'll come up soon. So, but I try to work in things on my desk whenever humanly possible. I think everything else on my desk right now is stuff that you guys have heard me talk about already. No, there's one more. I'll try to work that one in at some point, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, already seeing a bunch of super chats, so let me give briefly the other announcement, and then we'll go ahead and jump in. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Very quickly. 2 more announcements. First of all, the Daredevil Superhero Rewind is finished. It's available right now on Patreon, geekvolution.com. Sorry, Geekvolution. We used to have a geekvolution.com, and actually, I think the domain is like available right now. I should probably buy that up before somebody else does.
Patreon. Have me make the website.
What? Oh my god! Oh my god! I didn't even think of that. Oh, you shouldn't have said that, Danny. Because I didn't even realize you could do websites. Oh yeah, man!
I graduated with a web design degree.
What am I doing? Okay, so Danny, you and I, as we so often do, will be talking after the show about things I'm gonna make you do because you volunteered. But anyway, so sorry, I'm suddenly giddy about that because I don't have a website right now because I suck at making them and they always look really bad and people complain, and so I just let the domain expire because it looks terrible. Yeah, and I really, the main reason I want a website back again, I tried to design one last year. I never made it live. It didn't look good.
You should have told me.
I should have. But anyway, that was back before I knew you, I think. But anyway, so what I want the website for primarily is to get the definitive superhero movie list back up. And color coded so that people know like what I've reviewed and they can click on it and go to the videos and they know what I don't own in case anybody wants to make a donation and all. I used to have that and it was great and it was it helped me stay organized and I don't have that anymore. That's one of the big things I want to do a website for. Wouldn't have to archive all the videos, but it would be cool to at least archive Rewind. Anyway, I'm just really excited about this now and I'm going to move on. So patreon.com/geekvolution. Just the $2 pledge gets you access to that early. It will go live Friday night. So as I announced last week, or I guess a couple weeks ago now, we're going to start having the videos that are early, which are primarily just written stuff, the rewinds, and kind of Encrypt the Freaks when I get back to that. I've been busy, so I haven't been doing that the last couple weeks. But anyway, those will be 3 days early now and give you a little bit more bang for your buck on Patreon. Right after this show tonight, I'm shooting a pilot for a potential new occasional series. It depends on how well it goes. I might try to do it more often. It's going to be, and I might start doing Encrypt the Freaks like this too. I haven't decided yet, but it's going to be Superhero Rewatch. I'm going to do a live commentary on just the first episode of Arrow. I want to do something kind of short and quick and easy to kind of test the software or test the, I guess, website. So I've got a link in that live video, which I've already put up, and we'll be doing that later. It's not a video yet because we haven't made it yet, but there's a link to my Rabbit account, and that will my Rabbit, I guess, channel or page or whatever it is, and that will room, I guess is what they call it, and that will allow me to stream Netflix. And you guys can watch Arrow along with me instead of having to sync up with me, everybody that watches with us. So it'll be really nice. We can all look at it in the same room, the same online room, and it'll a virtual room, and it'll be easier for us to communicate that way while we can all see it. I'm going to ask folks to keep comments on YouTube. I am going to be shooting my stream, my face and my audio on YouTube, but we're all going to watch that together, and I'll be answering comments and talking to you guys while we watch the first episode of Arrow, if anybody wants to stick with us and do that. Okay, or stick with me anyway, because I'm going to do that solo. Danny, we've already got a bunch of super chats. Go ahead and rapid fire me the 3 questions you selected from last week, and then we'll jump right into new stuff. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, the first question from Blue Dragon 5. Cap, what would you use for the soundtrack of a biopic about your life? They Might Be Giants or the Jammer tape?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Which would you use for the soundtrack of a biopic?
Oh, definitely TMBG over the Jammer tape. Yeah, like that's like the soundtrack of my childhood. The Jammer tape, and if people don't know what he's talking about, because that video naturally didn't get a whole lot of views, but I did a video about a Jammer tape that my mother gave me when I was 6 that I talked about in the Guardians of the Galaxy Superhero Rewind, and one of the reasons that movie resonated with me so much is that I had kind of the same thing with my mother that Peter Quill had with his mom with the mixtape that she makes him, and that tape was lost for a long time, and I never thought I would find it, and it turned up at one point right around when Guardians came out. It was kind of a big deal for me, and so I did a whole video about it, and I put a link to a Spotify playlist where you can listen to those songs, and some of them are not good, But kind of the soundtrack of my child. No, absolutely, They Might Be Giants, certainly. But not exclusively They Might Be Giants. If we're talking about like the soundtrack of my life, but certainly when I'm in a more quirky or even sometimes introspective mood, TMBG. And I tend to listen to TMBG when I write more than anything else, depending on what it is that I'm writing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the next question from George White. Do you think The Incredibles 2 reputation will go down in the future for being a retread of the first?
I'm sorry, dude. I was reading an amusing comment. Can I read this amusing comment real quick, and then you can say that again? Grady Childs, I assume you have a better relationship with your father than Peter. Your father probably didn't put a tumor in your mom's head. No, she's still alive and well. So I'm assuming that didn't happen, or he failed at it. But also, my dad wouldn't do that, and he's not a planet as far as I know. If he is, he's a planet that has run restaurants and currently runs gas station. It's a gas station running planet. Danny, I'm sorry. Would you read that question again?
Yeah, of course. George White says, do you think The Incredibles 2 reputation will go down in the future for it being a retread of the first film?
I don't know if people will look at it as a retread so much as just like not the giant event they were hoping it would be. Like, I don't think that movie will be super well remembered. I think Incredibles, unless we have a great third movie and we have this really good trilogy, because like Eric and I suggested, like Eric and I said when we reviewed that movie, it has the potential to be a really good middle act, but with just these two movies, it's good, but it didn't blow me away. I don't think it blew a lot of people away. But I don't understand that criticism. I don't think it is just a retread.
No, I don't either. If anything happens to its reputation, I think it'll be like The Force Awakens, where the quality of subsequent movies kind of retroactively affects how people view that one. Where if the next one's good, people will be more forgiving of 2. But if it's not, if the third one is not that great, people might sour on 2 as well.
See, I can see that going either way. They'll be more forgiving of 2 if it really builds on 2. And I don't think this would happen because it's not a completely compromised movie. I mean, we know that there are some things because of time constraints that were compromised about that movie, and that it probably had a stronger initial first script. But I could see it either doing what you're talking about, Danny, or people kind of just dismissing that second movie and not going back to it much.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that third question from last week?
Okay, the third one from William Parcell. Captain Logan, as a content creator, do you ever struggle looking back and rewatching / reading your content because you always see things you do differently?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. I like to go back to some of my old content sometimes. I have different experiences with different things. Sometimes I'll look at a thing and I'll say, wow, I could have done that a lot better, or I've grown up a lot since then, or this feels like comparatively like a child made it. And like I'm just kind of surprised that I'm such a different person. And you have that with anything creative, or at least I always had that with anything creative I did, where if I wrote something, in high school and I was looking at it in college, I was like, yeesh, I'm glad I didn't show this to anyone, but with, like poetry and stuff, but with,
oh man, I have a terrible, like edgy song that I wrote.
Everybody did. So anyway, but with videos, I will have that experience sometimes. And sometimes it's sort of an ignorance thing where it's like, wow, I didn't know comics as well as I do now. And here are all these things I would have talked about with this if I knew what I knew now. And I'm sure 10 years from now, I'll go back to things I'm making right now and I'll think the exact same thing, because you're always growing and you're always learning, especially if you do the same thing like I have for almost 10 years, and you stay in the culture and you're constantly learning. Because remember, I was not, and I still don't think of myself as an expert or an aficionado by any stretch of the imagination with comic books and superhero stuff, but it's a thing I know a lot better than I did back then, and I never came into it as an expert. I came into it as a writer and a guy who had done a lot of narrative analysis in college that just wanted to bring that to this stuff. And it was a passion. It's a thing I liked a lot. But even back then, I didn't hold anything like a candle to what Eric knows, and I don't think I do now either. But I know a lot more than I did. So you have that experience, but then conversely, sometimes I'll look at things and I'll go, "Oh wow, I'm afraid I won't get back to this again. I'm afraid I won't do as well as I did with this if I ever made an attempt again at something like this." And you have to try to put that out of your head as much as humanly possible. That's where insecurities, factor in. And I have that sometimes with rewinds where I'll wonder if I've lost my critical edge a little bit, and I'll sometimes wonder if, and this goes back years. I mean, like, I think I've always kind of had this where I'll compare myself too much to earlier things, and I have to just kind of get that out of my head. Where I'm like, I would never say this now. Well, yeah, you're a different person. You'd say something else, and it might not suck. You know, you don't know what you'd say. You got to sit down and write it down and find out. So yeah, I have a lot of different reactions to going back to my older stuff. But that was a great question. Thank you.
Yeah. As someone who draws and not writes or creates like video content.
As a drawer,
I hate saying that word.
It shouldn't be a word if it is.
It shouldn't. A drawer. Yeah,
just artist. Yeah.
But no, I'll occasionally like go back and look at art I did years ago, and some of it will be really good and really surprising to me how good like the fundamentals of it were at that time. And then stuff from like a week later from that, I'll look at it like, this is garbage. I don't ever want to see that again. Because I'll look and be like, that shading's off, that proportion's off, all this kind of stuff.
But that means that you're refining, that you're perfecting your craft. I mean, that's the whole point. And then the thing you got to be careful of is not feeling the need to go back and try to fix everything like retroactively, like years later, the Star Wars Special Edition thing.
Yeah. Rest assured, none of my drawings will ever have CGI aliens just thrown in the background of it.
Yeah, and like, I might go back and do another rewind on the same movie because I have more to say about it, but I'm not going to like redo that rewind or like get rid of that video. Okay, Danny, let's knock down the super chats. Here's how I'd like to handle this. Every super chat will be answered, even if I have to do it too kind of truncated, if they really pile up. And I know there's quite a few already. What I want to do is I want to rapid fire as much as we can. I should never even use that phrase. Do 3 and then do a pre-written comment, and then do 3 more. So make sure. Can we do that? Yeah. Until we've knocked out the super chats, and then we'll do pre-written questions until we get more super chats. Go right ahead, sir.
I like that idea. Okay, the first one from Thomas Edgehill. Could a Superman show in the style of Batman 66 work? Admiral Logan rocks. And if you ever see an old lady on a bus, don't punch her. Let Captain Marvel do it. That's sound advice at the end of that.
Yeah, well, I don't think if I'm not Captain Marvel, I'm gonna know what the reason is she needs to be punched in the face. Because like, if she's a Skrull, I wouldn't know that, and I'm assuming that's why she gets. What's that now?
She stole your seat. She just wheeled herself over there. Sat
I
down
want that so much to be the reason that Carol Danvers punches her in the face. You stole my seat. That's our new stalwart Marvel hero that's supposed to replace Tony Stark and Captain America. Like, you stole my seat.
But I wanted that seat more. You don't get it. I wanted it more.
I wanted more, sir. Somebody also remembers the short-lived, ill-fated Admiral Logan thing. That was a mistake. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, what was the question again? Okay, a Superman show in the style of 66 Batman.
Yes.
The closest thing we ever had was the Superman musical in 1975. And it had a lot in common with that. And you could make the argument that that show influenced even the 78 movie with the way Lex Luthor and his cronies are handled, even though they're not just straight up goofy 60s Batman villains, but they certainly are kind of comic relief characters. So I think we've seen tastes of it. I'm not sure what the point would be. Like, I would worry that if you did that, and like it would be weird to do anything like 66 now, right? Like, I think the closest you're ever going to get is something like Gotham, where if we do that, we feel the need to make it like really dark and violent. But if you did it, I think you'd run the risk of it just being Batman again, because I think in a lot of ways, Batman is kind of a stand-in for superheroes in general, just without powers. So, like, if you did it with Superman, it would be hard not to just make fun of all the same kinds of things, besides like the gadgetry and his being a rich guy and stuff. But like, I think the whole, and I know I talk about this a lot, but the whole like, cultural dependency thing, like, it seems like that would still probably be the crux of your show.
Yeah, that would be much more to the forefront in a Superman show, I would think. Just because that's much more obvious that they're relying on an alien with superpowers more so than a man who's doing this that theoretically could be any man. So I think that would be brought up more to the forefront.
If I were going to do something like that, I would make it a cartoon show instead, and I would do something more for kids that's based on something like Superman Family Adventures from the Tiny Titans guys, which very much does that kind of thing, where it's kind of a parody of Superman, but using those characters. And it's very clever. I recommend that, but I think that would be kind of the way to go with it.
Have you ever seen Crypto the Superdog? Or not Super, yeah.
It's Crypto the Superdog. Yeah. I've seen like 5 or 10 minutes. I never got to watch a whole episode.
It was pretty good. It's not like a straight up parody. It's more earnest, I think. But it's a really good like kids superhero show that does not Superman, even though it's sort of that same stuff.
Everything Geek says Superman show in the style of Batman 66 would be like the Powerpuff Girls. That's interesting.
Maybe.
Is that just because like it's somebody with powers and that show is looking at 66 Batman? Because like I see why you're saying that.
Yeah, I was never a big Powerpuff Girls fan, so I can't really speak to that. I don't know enough about it to see if it holds anything other than the like narrator through it. That's like the one thing I noticed in like the title screen flashing type of thing.
Yeah, well, and by the way, we can't be friends anymore. First of all, I gotta mention that Danny doesn't care about Powerpuff Girls. Well, sir. But you know about me, right? That Powerpuff Girls is a big thing with me. But yeah, that show. I'll send you some episodes you should watch. But anyway, it does the culture dependency thing. It does there's a whole episode about it where the Powerpuff Girls just like make the townspeople like solve their own problems, and then like the mayor is a complete idiot and the cops are totally incompetent, and yeah, it does that stuff certainly. Let's move on. What else?
Okay, the next one from Malik Myers. Thoughts on Loki and Scarlet Witch getting their own shows on Disney's streaming service with their MCU actors?
Yeah, we'll talk about this more on the Omnibus, but just right off, two things. First of all, that is certainly very exciting. Some people are saying, well, yay, maybe we can kind of get past the unfortunate stuff that's happened with Thor and Asgard and characters not getting screen time. Kind of vindicate some of that material a little bit. It's going to be a really interesting seeing the lines blurred. And by the way, that will make people feel the need to buy yet another streaming service. Like, it kind of sucks that so many of these things are going on new streaming services. And then they end up, I mean, we don't know about Titans and stuff yet, but like they end up being quality. And then we're like, well, crap, now I got to get another streaming service. But like, if they have to be there, at least there's stuff we want to see on them. It's going to blur the lines a lot because so far, TV stuff has not been talking to movies very well. And Kevin Feige is going to be apparently spearheading this himself. And that means you can expect, especially because it's going to be those actors and like major actors playing major roles, not just the little cameos like we got in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the occasional one-off spot for somebody like Sif, who got some cool character work in that. And we finally got to see her do some stuff, which was nice, but it's going to be talking directly to the movie universe and won't just be its own thing on television. And they mentioned those two, but that I'm sure that doesn't mean those are the only things that they'll do, especially if those are popular. So then the big question is, will that change anything about the rest of Marvel television? If you if you have what are basically TV miniseries, because I don't know if those are going to have multiple seasons. I don't know if they'll do the Netflix thing. It could be a mistake to do the Netflix thing. But, you know, it sounds like they'll be shorter. They're talking like 6 to 8 episodes instead of 10 or 13. And I think that's all good news. I think that's kind of exciting. But I wonder if it means anything at all for the Netflix shows and the potential of those ever having, or anything that they ever put on, you know, ABC now. But I kind of doubt it. I kind of still don't think that that will necessarily affect that, because that's going to be a Disney, like a straight up Disney streaming service, and not like a third party thing. And it sounds like they might be kind of approaching that like small screen movies, which is awesome.
Yeah. I'm with those two characters in particular. I'm curious of what the timeline would be, because Loki would make sense to do a prequel, so you can do it in a world that's not being directly influenced both in time and location by what's going on in the MCU. And he's got a, you know, he's lived long enough that you can do that. Scarlet Witch seems like a weird one to do, because we don't seem to get the sense that her and Quicksilver had their powers at all before they were prisoners.
Do we know for sure they're prequels?
No, we don't. That's just my assumption of what would be the easiest thing to do to not handcuff yourself to any.
Ooh, see, I'm not assuming that. I think
I am with Loki just because of what we've seen in Infinity War.
Well, yeah, but like, so first of all, I think all bets are off with who survives and who doesn't with the next Avengers movie. I will cry foul if they bring Loki back. And
he looks at the screen and says, "No more resurrections" or whatever.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it would be ridiculous if they did that. If they don't leave him dead, they have to kill off at least 3 more major characters, I think. Like that can't be your token death and then also everyone comes back. You can't do that. But remember, time travel stuff, it is possible that movie ends with an actual reset. I hope not, but it's possible. So anyway, but no, that's a fair prediction, that's probably a prequel thing. Having said that, you have to like write Thor out of it unless they're going to go the whole 9 yards and actually bring him in, which I don't think is completely inconceivable.
No,
because they're saying they're spending a lot of money on these, and it does sound like they're treating them like small screen movies. But that's why I'm saying they could be smart about what they do with Scarlet Witch, and it could be post whatever major stuff is going on right now, especially if they plan to make it a miniseries and not an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I would really like to see. That's the one of these that I'm interested in. I don't really care about Loki, honestly. I don't get. I like the character.
I think he could really carry his own show, though.
Oh, he could. I just don't care.
Okay, so here's the thing. I kind of agree with you. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Loki either. The Simonson comics won me more over on that character, and you should read those if you haven't. But A, I think he can carry his own show, and B, I would love to see an Asgard mythology show that actually explored the politics and the culture of that world. And Loki is not a bad Eisen character to do that with, I don't think.
No, if that's the direction they end up going with it, I'll be very interested in that. But just from what we've seen,
I don't want a Loki show on Earth. I don't want that. But
no, that's
if they have him like in a suit pretending to be some other guy at like a desk job or something, I don't care about that right away anyway.
Just the main. Well, he's always changing his shape, so it's always following a different actor for each episode.
Oh my god, we quantum leap it? Well, actually, that would be like inverse quantum. No, we don't follow a different actor. We do the quantum leap thing where he keeps pretending like he's different people, and we see Tom Hiddleston the whole time. But he's wearing like some episodes he wears a dress, some episodes he wears like a military uniform. No, that would be hilarious. Actually, that I would go in for. I would watch that show.
Is it being John Malkovich where everyone is John Malkovich? Right. Just have it.
I never saw that.
Okay,
but
I think that's what
I think that is the premise of that. Yes.
That I would buy that, but no. Getting on to the next super chat from Mr. Roboto. Going back to one of the first things we discussed this evening, did you ever consider being a storm chaser?
Me? No, not really. That was a thing that honestly kind of bored me when I was a kid. Like, I was never scared of it. Mom didn't like go after tornadoes so much. I mean, like, if we were out in the middle of a big storm and she saw one, she would drive toward it until, like, if it was really far away, until she decided it was too dangerous. Like, we didn't do anything nutso. And I just kind of got bored sitting in a car that long. I'm not a big fan of being in a car for long periods of time. Like, I don't mind driving. I really don't like riding, though. And I get a little car sick, so, like, I don't love riding in the car. So no, I don't think I would do that.
Okay. I wouldn't either.
Is that 3 super chats?
That is 3.
Okay, let's do go into a couple written, and then we'll get back to the super chats.
Okay, this first one is really quick. Hopefully, Blue Dragon 5 says,
"You never know with me."
Cap, what are you and Danny going as for Halloween this year?
I don't plan on doing anything really. Right now, I think I'm just going to take my kids trick-or-treating, and I might wear a costume I have already. I might wear the Nightfall suit that we made for the unfortunately not continued Batman Year project, which I still have not officially unannounced, but I don't think we're going to be able to finish it just because of practical issues, which sucks. But I need to get some use out of that suit, so I might wear that.
Okay. And I think Halloween falls on a day of the week this year, so I'm going to dress up as Spider-Man and call myself a web developer.
Ha ha! You should wear a name tag. You should say web developer, and then underneath it should be like Danny Parker or Spider Dan. No, you can't be Spider Dan because you could go as Spider Dan. No, Danny, you should go as Dan Torrey.
No one would get it. It'd be amazing, and I'm doing that now.
Dan Torrey should go as Danny Nixon.
I'm doing it.
And then you can be like, look at me, I'm a lawyer. And he can be like, look at me, I'm a web designer and an icon maker.
Look at me, I have no feelings. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep. It seems like this is the 3rd show in a row I've made fun of Dan for that.
No, you have to. It's actually obligatory. It's in the contract. I don't know if you read that part, but it is.
I didn't read the contract, like I don't read terms of services, so I should probably get better about that.
That explains all those emails about where your check is. I'm like, you didn't read. You just did not read the thing.
You're like, a check? Like a check mark? You did good. Got a check mark.
Congratulations.
No, a serious Halloween thing. I'm probably not going to do anything for Halloween because it's in the middle of a week and I'll be in bed by like 8 o'clock. But no, the next question from Kellen O'Rourke. Cap, is a direct adaptation of the original Mirage TMNT comics possible since the Turtles have had such a huge and lucrative child fan base?
I have talked about this before. I think it is. So he's not talking about whether or not you can visually render it, which I have talked about before and talked about how I think that's best done. He's saying, is that a good idea? Like, is it commercially viable because TMNT is usually such a kiddie property? I think it is possible to have your cake and eat it too on that. I don't think the Mirage style Ninja Turtles movie has to be rated R, but I think you could push it just to the edge. I have given the Mirage comics to my son. I'll let him read those. They're just like, they're violent, but they don't go so far that I don't feel like an 8 or a 10-year-old can't look at them. Maybe some of the later stuff, but like especially the initial first couple of trades. I like the first, I don't know, like 10, 12 issues. Like I don't have any problem with a kid looking at. So I think you can get away with it. It's kind of the Batman question, right? Where you can make a rated R Batman movie, and Batman is popular enough that people will see it. But then the question is, like, should you do that? Because then you're kind of leaving the kid fans out. The thing is, Batman and Ninja Turtles are a little bit different because it is a little different comparing those, because Ninja Turtles is not as popular as Batman. So you're taking more of a risk if you do that. I don't know. What do you think, Danny? Like, I would like to see that. I've always said I want to see that happen.
I would too. Kellen O'Rourke just said a new TMNT series should look and feel like Daredevil. I agree. I think it could happen. I think it's certainly possible. It's not probable. We may.
You know, that's a good point, though. Maybe it's better to do as like a Netflix thing, right? Like,
well, if you're doing kids Turtles in a TV show, I say do the adult thing in the movie. Or if you're doing the kid stuff in the movies, do the adult stuff in the TV show. So there's just a little bit of extra separation.
Yeah, but I would make the argument that streaming is almost a different medium and format now than broadcast television.
true, but has Nickelodeon done anything streaming yet? Because
I don't know if they have. No, I mean that's a good point. They would almost have to outsource it to a different company.
and I don't want the Nickelodeon streaming service. Please,
no,
companies,
no, I
stop
wouldn't want that
making
either.
streaming services.
But
just
also,
for your one TMNT show.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's absolutely fair. But I mean, I think you just have to make sure that there's also an option at the time for kids with Ninja Turtles. I would say I have a really biased kind of way of looking at this because I really want to see that done. But I also think, and this is going to be the obvious thing for me to say, I also think the middle of the road thing to do would be to adapt Tom Waltz because there's enough of that style in that, and you could make it even more stylish than that is and look like those books and still make it a thing that's okay for kids to watch.
Now, if they did like straight up early first, black and white TMNT, would you do that ideally live action or animated?
I could see it either way. I mean, I think it's a smarter idea to do it animated, to do it 2D animation. But the suggestion I've made in the past is you make the human characters live action actors, and you shoot a lot of it on green like Sin City, but you build some stuff, and the turtles themselves are rendered characters, but it all feels like it fits together because it's so stylized that they could even almost be like two-dimensional, and it would like you wouldn't want them to be flat, but I don't think they would have to be CG rendered the way they were in the most recent movies.
Have you gotten the comic book skin in the Spider-Man game?
No, I haven't done that yet.
There's a skin that is like designed and looks so shaded. So instead of it looking like a 3D model and like all the normal shading you would have on that, it looks like a 2D, just flat, like it's drawn. It's kind of like if I were to draw over.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and the shadows move. So like what would be shadow is just like pitch black, like it's been inked. It looks so cool.
Is it sort of like what Into the Spider-Verse looks like?
I don't know, but the first time I saw it, I thought it was somebody just drawing over it, like animating over it.
Interesting. Okay.
So like it was good enough. Like I feel like I've got a good eye for noticing things in animation. I thought it was 2D animated over it and was like a fan edit thing because it doesn't look like the Batman the Animated Series skins from Arkham City, where those just feel really weird. It looked straight out of the page, just slapped onto that. Really, I'm
excited to get to that one. I got about half the suits right now. I haven't gotten that one yet.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil a potential suit for you.
No problem. That's all right. Okay, so Danny, I mean, somebody else might be angry, but I'm good. Danny, how many super chats do we have left right now?
Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, we got a little over 20 minutes, so let's do another batch of what we just did. Give me 3 of those and maybe 2 of the other.
Okay, this first one is from Random Reviewer. Has Danny or Eric seen Teen Wolf? I can answer for myself. No. Malik asked me to watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point I'll get to it, but it's sorry, Malik. It's not at like the top of my priority because werewolves and teenage drama stuff isn't like top of my list. But Cap, your recommendation made me more interested in it. So
I mean, it's not my thing either, but for what it's trying to do, it's handling it. I think the best it could. I mean, like I said, I like that show. What I've seen of it so far. But it's certainly not for everybody, and it's probably not totally for like if I didn't have the history I had with Smallville, I would probably not be as interested in it. But I just keep seeing things that other shows that I watched when I was in high school and more into high school angsty kinds of things for the little bit that I was, where I'm like, oh, that's what this is what those should have done. So it's more sophisticated than some of that stuff has been. Okay, what else?
Next question from Super Nerd.
Noah O has to go. Bye, Noah. Thanks for being here.
Bye, Noah. Super Nerd says, hey, Cap, have you read Grant Morrison's JLA and Bob Haney's Brave and the Bold from the 70s pre-crisis era DC? You rock, by the way. Rock in all capitals.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm sad to say, and thanks for the super chat, but I'm sad to say I've not actually looked deeply into either of those. I think I've read the occasional stray issue of Grant Morrison's JLA, but that's about it. I need to go through it. It's a major seminal run.
Yeah, I haven't. That's one of my like I know I need to read it thing, and I think I've read maybe one or two like single issue stories of Brave and the Bold Batman stuff.
Yeah, I have probably 12 or 15 issues of that, and I'm sure I read some of that when I was a kid, but I don't remember it very well.
Yeah, that's. Do they have good like trade collections of that kind of stuff? Because that's stuff I'd be interested in getting.
I don't know if they traded that. I mean, obviously Morrison's JLA, but
Oh
I don't
yeah, I mean,
I don't know about Brave and the Bold. Yeah.
okay. Next question from the Everything Geek, aka Hawk Flame. Any retro SNES, Genesis, and earlier game franchises you hope make a comeback in the current gen?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some of the stuff that I always wanted to see happen has happened. Obviously, Donkey Kong Country was a big one, and it came back in a big way. And I hope we get another new one at some point. Right now, I think they're dragging their feet a little bit because nobody bought the Wii U, so they were able to re-release Tropical Freeze like it was new. So that's unfortunate. Earthworm Jim is one, certainly. It would be fun to see. I don't think anyone else would care about this. It would be fun to see a return of Clay Fighter uh, in in current gen graphics. I think that would be amazing, and maybe making fun of modern stuff. That would be cool. I don't know if you're familiar with Clay Fighter, Danny,
No.
but it made fun of period action movies from the 80s and 90s. I mean contemporary, at the time. And the first Clay Fighter game was stiff and not great. Kind of hard to play, but then it's a fighting game franchise. The second one is great. It's Terminator 2, or excuse me, Clay Fighter 2, Judgment Clay, and then
That's a great title.
and then they made fun of what was I think the third one was oh, I know what it was. It was on 64, and they called it 33 and a third. That was pretty great. It would be fun to see Clay Fighter come back. That's a couple that immediately come to mind. We need a true return for Star Fox. That's a big one, but there's a few.
Yeah, and I'm not a big gamer, especially retro games, so I don't really.
Well, that was my era. I'm older than you.
Yeah, keep rubbing it in.
I know about. Okay. No, I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just making a statement. I don't know. One of the coolest puzzle games at the time was Pack Attack. It would be cool to see that come back. There was a Pac-Man puzzle game where you had to actually run a Pac-Man like Pac-Man usually moves in his grid through the blocks that you drop like in Tetris, and it was great. But I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff.
Okay, the next question from Mr. Cool 210. Yeah, that was just. This is the third. No, that was 3, right?
No, I think this is the third. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, Ben.
What is the next rewind that you're dreading doing the most?
Yeah, BVS is definitely up there, certainly. And that's obvious, but that's just going to be that's just going to be hard to try to make a cohesive review out of, I think. Because my brain is going to explode trying to make sense of it, and I'm probably going to give it like too much of the benefit of the doubt, like I tend to, and then my head's going to explode. Even with all the issues I have with that movie, I don't tend to go into things going, this is awful, and I'm going to show you how awful it is. Like I give everything as much of a fair shake as I can when I sit down with it, even if I'm already familiar with it. And so that's gonna be rough. I'm trying to think of other things. I mean, other like really bad movies I'm thinking of are probably going to be kind of fun to write about. Like Steel is on the short list. That's finally going to happen. I'm kind of looking forward to writing about that piece of awfulness. I think that will be kind of fun to write about. Maybe, or maybe it won't be fun at all. I've only seen it once. It's obviously not good, but it might be not good in a way that's not fun to write about. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of at the moment sort of looking forward to finally doing that one. Did you lose my face?
I did.
Oh man, what happened?
I don't know. Did you hit the... But we're experiencing technical difficulties, folks.
Yeah, just give me a second, everybody.
Okay.
Did you see me yet? There
Yes.
I am. Hi, everybody.
Cap is back.
Here I am.
The Cap Knight returns.
Yes, I'm back.
Hey, look, everyone. It's Batcap.
It's Batcap. I'm back.
Okay.
Turn off the camera and get rid of that other guy.
Oh, God.
You wouldn't see the violence.
I love Batcap so much.
But unfortunately, I forgot my cowl. So you can see that underneath I look just like Captain Logan, but I assure you, I'm a different person.
Okay, I'm trying to find the question because I forgot to copy down, but I'm forgetting the name. But someone asked, have we talked about the Captain Marvel trailer yet?
No. Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Torch was who asked.
The answer is no. Thanks for the question, and moving right along now. No, I'm kidding. Danny, some people seem there seems to be a little bit of conflicting feelings about this trailer from people. I'm hearing from some people that are really excited. I'm hearing from other people that are not immediately stoked like they thought they might be. What did you think of it?
It did not change my opinion or make me any more excited for this movie than I am. I'm more excited to see how this movie ties into Avengers 4 than I am to see a Captain Marvel movie. The trailer is good. It doesn't make me feel like, oh, this is going to be a bad movie. So it's a good trailer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly excited about the world building, but the filling in, going back to the 90s. I get excited about 90s period pieces in general sometimes, so like I could be a little bit biased about this kind of thing. I thought the blockbuster gag was a really good idea, just putting in the trailer to immediately clue everyone into that this is a period piece, because most of these aren't that. Fury looks amazing.
Yes, I really, really, really hope they do some Pulp Fiction references somewhere. Like, I hope for some reason they just have to go to, like, France and he gets a Royale with cheese.
Dude, you know that if there is the token F-bomb in that movie, he will be the one who has it.
It would be illegal to give it to anybody else, I would think. I think if you're going to have an F-bomb in a movie with Samuel L. Jackson, he has to be the one who says it.
Yeah, I'd bet you $200 that's in there.
Especially with the tease at the end of Infinity War. He's got to get his payoff for it, right?
Witch King. Hi, Witch King. I'm not familiar with that moniker. Batcat versus Spider Cop. Spider Cop. It's a reference to the new Spider-Man PS4 game. But yeah, what else about that? I think to a general audience goer, that's either gonna be really exciting because more space stuff and fleshing out the cosmic, and obviously female hero and hero with multiple powers. Because I don't know if you thought about that, but like, not only is this the most powerful character that we'll have in the Marvel universe, but it's the closest to Superman we have, because like nobody has multiple powers.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Yeah,
this will be she's just yeah. So she's going to look kind of archetypal to people. Maybe. And so that's kind of, but it's either going to do that for people or it's going to look kind of confused because there's a lot going on. And I don't know if, like, they're trying to throw bones at comic book fans to say we know what Captain Marvel is and about the mythology and the Skrulls and all of that. And so here is stuff about her backstory and about her thinking that she had a life on Earth and all of that stuff. I don't know if I would have thrown all that in your teaser trailer.
Real quick, Grady Childs says most powerful Thanos was just snapped half the universe. We're talking about heroes.
We're about superheroes.
Yeah. Not the villains and all that, like
not the most powerful character. I just mean of the what am I trying to say? The bin of action figures you have to pull from, right? Like,
well, there's Thanos action figures, but yeah.
No. I mean, I just mean of the superheroes in this in this world. Yeah, okay. So that was not the analogy. But,
yeah, they don't make action figures for villains, Cap.
It's not what I'm talking about, though.
No, I'm giving you a hard time, but yeah, it'll be really interesting. Oh, and he says Doctor Strange, but that's more magic, all-encompassing magic.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair too. I mean, certainly, there's a whole lot of different things he can do, but I just mean a character but like a more traditional superhero, like Doctor Strange has a cape, but I just mean like a traditional looking superhero with power. Like, you're right, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm like over the moon excited, like I'm following everything about this movie, but I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think it's about what I expected, which is not a bad thing. But it looks pretty sure of itself. It's not and I didn't expect that it would do this. It's not smacking you over the head with hey, look, we're so progressive, we have a female character, with the exception of that her in a hero thing, which personally I didn't need. I don't know why they felt the need to do that, because it's there's nothing about the material that's like bashing you over the head with like again, look how progressive we are. Like, just I don't mean to soapbox, but you guys know how I feel about this. Just present your strong female character and say, yeah, this is normal. And it kind of feels like they're almost maybe apologizing for the fact that it's taken them this long to and they've gotten criticism for that, to have a standalone female superhero movie. And so they have to put that in there for the people criticizing that. And I resist that personally, but
yeah.
But that's not about the movie. That's just about the way they're marketing it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I always separate marketing from the actual movie because they're completely two separate entities. I know one thing. I really wish this was like a crossover with DC so I could see all the fan theories about her punching Granny Goodness.
Oh, that's really funny. Yeah. I'm sure I've talked about this somewhere too, and maybe the internet is ablaze about this, and I just haven't been keeping up. But it is weird that we've got a Captain Marvel movie and a Shazam movie the same year.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Like,
so weird.
You mentioned Captain Marvel movie, they're like, which one?
Yeah,
like, we know which
so well everyone knows which one because we haven't been able to call Shazam Captain Marvel for 6 years.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Okay, we have less than 10 minutes if we actually keep to an hour, so I want to get as much more knocked down as humanly possible. Go ahead.
Okay. Want to get to the next 3 super chats?
Can we please?
Yes. Okay, from Anthony Cabrera. Thoughts on Batman White Knight comic vault?
Yeah, I want to do that soon. I don't want to talk too much about that yet because I have only read the first 3 or 4 issues of that. But it's really interesting, and I like what I've read so far quite a bit. Have you looked at it?
I got issue 1. I heard some stuff about issue 6, I think, whichever one talks about.
Yeah, how long is that? Is that
7?
7 or is it? Okay, that's what I thought.
If it's on trade, I need to get it. If it's not on trade, I'm going to get it when it comes out. But what I saw, very little, I was super interested by it. Like, it seems like such a cool idea, and they're doing something I've always wanted. I never thought of until that happened, but I've like always wanted them to try to make sense out of, and they're doing it. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I can't wait. I can't wait to finally sit down and read it.
Danny, maybe you and I should do that review together.
Yeah, I'm down. Before anyone gets their hopes up, I'm not the most analytical person, so it's not going to be a whole lot of good.
No, I'll do all the boring stuff, and then Danny will be like, "This panel was cool."
Yeah,
no, Danny is. No, I'm kidding.
Here.
Danny is selling himself short, though. We have shot some material, Danny and I together that we've not announced yet that you guys haven't seen. But Danny is selling himself short, I think.
Well, I am only like 5'6", so.
Me too. We're like the same. I can't wait till we meet because I can hang out with somebody who's not taller than me.
Right, not having to get on like the soapbox to take the pictures and everything.
My wife is taller than me. Yeah, I mean, like that's why I get on my soapbox so much because I just you guys think I'm taller than I.
He's got to reach the microphone. He's not on the soapbox for any like political stance. It's just I got to reach the microphone.
He's a couple inches taller than I am, and when she comes home in her like 5-inch platform heel, she like towers over me, and like I have to like reach up to kiss her. Like, yeah, I'm a short dude.
Then the next question, super chat from Jeffrey Patron. I know what you're thinking, Jeffrey. Captain Logan. He's more commentator Logan, but they took a vote and Captain Logan was cooler.
Yeah, I don't think that would have caught on.
Commentator
really,
Logan.
No, I'm commentator Logan. People like it sounds either pretentious or just dorky.
I
don't know which.
Dorky. It's a mouthful. At least you can short captain to cap.
Yeah, commentate. Well, and that's the thing too is like people would just call you Logan, right? Like, which like some people do already. But yeah, I don't know. Somehow like commentator Logan sounds like Logan must be a first name, but Captain Logan sounds like maybe it's not a first. I don't know. Commentator Logan.
Daniel Davis says half intelligent guy, Captain Logan. Okay, that's.
Thanks for that.
I thought that was going somewhere else. I didn't mean to insult you with that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, just make sure and pull out the insults and nothing else. Danny.
Sorry,
like,
I really thought that was. I've only read
like
half
what
of it,
percentage of the comments outside of super chats have you felt the need to read out loud?
Not a whole lot. Now I feel really bad about doing that because I just read the
like maybe 0.75%. but like if he sees one that's just like really railing on, was it rail on commentator Logan Knight? Like what is going on?
I know. I thought it was going somewhere different, so I apologize to you for that one because that came out a lot ruder than I thought it was going to. Segueing.
No, it was hilarious. I'm glad you read it.
On to the next and so far final super chat, knocking on wood.
No, we just got another one.
Say that, David. I love you, David. Thanks, Mr. Roboto says, it's stated that Ray Palmer was supposed to be in Justice League or maybe in Injustice. If he's in Injustice, then that was not what he meant, but he just says to be in Justice.
So are we talking about the movie?
I'm not sure. He just says was supposed to be in Justice. I'm assuming that means Justice League.
Well, yeah, because he is in Injustice already. Like Injustice 2 has that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I vaguely remember a rumor about that now that you bring it up, if I'm right about it. But I don't know if like the hero, like if he was ever supposed to put on the costume or just like be there in the background to like maybe, you know, become Adam later. I don't know.
Probably would have been a cameo on the Zod ship somewhere.
Yeah, no, that would have made a lot of sense. Sure. There's stuff you could do with that. It would be neat to introduce someone like that, or do like Holland, you know, like set up Swamp Thing. Is that it? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so. I'm blanking on his first
name.
Like
things like that could be cool.
Yeah. And I'm super excited for the Swamp Thing TV show. If hopefully that's good.
We learned that the suit is going to be practical, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. I want to see how that looks on screen. The next super chat from David Crabtree. I hope Captain Marvel earned her rank, unlike Captain Steve Rogers, who was given a fake rank to sell war bonds. You don't go from private to captain. That's not how military rank promotions work.
Yeah. The real question is the rank of captain for Captain Marvel in like the alien ranks, or when she comes to, or like does she already have that? And then wouldn't they have different ranks? Like they wouldn't be called captain, right?
Well, that kind of goes to the why are they speaking English type of thing. I just choose not to think about it.
Yeah, but you know what? Even when we do that in most things, I mean, I'm thinking Star Trek specifically, but like in most things, we make up names of ranks for alien species. Like we tend to do that, you know. Like you have Gull and like so sometimes you'll do something more generic. You just have a different rank system. Like the Romulans have commanders but not captains and things like that. But I wonder if that's a given rank in space.
You know what I'd like? The guy from Spider-Man 02 that's naming off all the names for whichever, either Spider-Man 02 or Spider-Man 2. The guy who's working at the Daily Bugle, who's ranking off all the names, he goes, Doctor Strange. No, I want him to come in and ask her what her name is. She gets some weird title that's an alien. And he goes, no, that won't work. How about Captain Marvel?
Yeah, and you know, like if she didn't get her rank legitimately, I can't say anything.
Yeah, Captain Logan.
Yeah. You know, I also, like, I didn't even start at private. I started nothing. I'm a self-proclaimed captain.
Pot meat kettle.
Yeah.
Jacob May says Captain Marvel.
Ripped to shreds tonight. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. Okay, let's try to knock out a couple more if we can, and then I'm going to take a few minutes break, and then for anybody that wants to come back, I'm going to talk over the first episode of Arrow. So stick with us if you are so inclined, or stick with me anyway. Danny's got to go to bed. Danny's going to be stick in the mud and not hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm an old folk. I'm an old folk now.
I'm older than you. We talked about this.
Yeah, we did on this very live show.
Yeah, like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. See, I'm old. My memory is bad.
Okay.
Blue Dragon 5 says, hey, Cap, based on your viewing of Won't You Be My Neighbor, do you think Brad Bird would agree with Mr. Rogers' philosophy?
That's interesting. Not a thing I've really thought about. Like, just looking at his work, I can see why you're saying that. I don't know a lot about the man personally. So I find that a difficult question to answer. I don't feel qualified to answer that question, but just looking at his work, I would say probably.
Okay, that's my train. Cameo by The Train. The next question from Matthew Clark. Has Eric ever finished...
Just like helicopters.
And airplanes and everything. No, Matt.
What is going on outside?
I'm getting swatted. I was playing that Fortnite game.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's the alien invasion. V is happening. That's what's going on.
I better get to my...
I got it in there. I did it. Yes.
I need to get to my Cloverfield Lane bunker. No,
Kellen O'Rourke real quick says, think Tom Hanks can pull off Fred Rogers. Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited about that. So excited about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Matthew Clark. Has Eric ever finished the Punisher Netflix show?
Not yet. No, he just can't get excited. He doesn't care. He watched the first episode. He was like, it's kind of slow. I'm just not in the mood for this. He's like, it's fine. It's just not what I want to watch right now. And he's not wanted to watch it yet. So, yeah.
Okay. From William Parcell, Cap, if you were able to travel back in time and go to the premiere of one older film, which would it be and why?
Wow. I feel like I saw that question recently. Maybe he's asked this a few times and we've never gotten to it.
He's asked it a few times tonight. He probably has asked it in the past.
Yeah. No, that's because it's a great question and I've always wanted to answer it, but it's never come up. So blame Danny. It's the chat moderator's fault.
That's the subtitle for this show. Blame Danny.
Yeah, well, two can play at this game, Danny. You know? So anyway,
half intelligent moderator, Danny Nixon.
Danny, you know me well enough. You know the answer to this. It's the obvious answer. I can't say anything but the obvious answer.
Batman 89.
Yeah, right. Like, no, you got to see the craziness of that premiere.
I'm kind of with you. It's that or it's Superman.
Yeah, that would be huge too. Or, it might be interesting to see premieres for movies that were big later, but weren't huge at the time. Like, I don't know what those would be, but...
See, going to like a cult classic movie in theaters doesn't appeal to me as much because it's usually more fun to go... Like, I wouldn't want to see The Room opening night. But I'd love to go see that like way later on when everyone's caught on of what kind of a film that is.
Sure. Yeah.
There are some things like maybe I guess I can go watch that movie for like $2 on Amazon right now. It doesn't like feel important to go back to see that. The big historical ones I want to go back for just like the atmosphere.
Kellen O'Rourke says you just had the disc lying there. Yeah. And what's kind of fun is just you guys. The picture you must have in your head of what this looks like, but by not showing it to you. I just keep pulling things. And like, it's not that covered up. It's not a huge mess, but you've got to have a mess in your mind right now.
I'm just picturing like random DVDs not in their cases, just lying around getting all stretched up.
That's the only one. I don't even know where the box is right now. I don't know why that's not here, but like, no, I probably look way more disorganized in your head than I actually am. Danny, let's answer one more question, sir, and then we're going to go ahead and bid everybody farewell tonight.
Okay, let me find one that I think would be really good. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to scroll through my list.
What other props do you have on your desk, Cap? Well, I can show you a couple of other things, but mostly things I've shown in videos before. Like I've got President Lex from Smallville sitting here. He's here. I have the Bat phone. I always have this at the ready in case I need it. Because this is how landlines work. Like I could actually make a call on this with it not connected to anything. And then what else do I have? I have I have Doomsday. Doomsday is here. Anyway, those are some props on my desk.
Thank you. You gave me enough time to find a question without...
I have Batman sticky notes. These come in handy. I have various like Star Trek pins for some reason. Okay.
Okay, the next and final question from Cinematographic. Captain Logan, Given your love-hate relationship with Arrow, do you think the CW made a mistake in not setting up Laurel as Black Canary from the beginning?
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, no, having her be like a second, like copycat Black Canary taking up her sister's mantle, and then later, spoiler alert, killing her and acting like it's her legacy more than it's Sarah's. Oh, I hate that. It's ridiculous. No, it's obvious that there were a lot of things in the initial vision for that show that we were trying to get away from comics, either for some deliberate reason that I'm not understanding, or just kind of arbitrarily, like, let's go our own way and change for the sake of change. And like, calling her Laurel in the first place was pointless. Yeah. Like, if she's going to be Black Canary, at any point she should be Dinah. And all the way up into the season where they did it, that actress, I forget her name right now, didn't know, or didn't seem to know that they were going to do that, because she gave an interview, I think the year they finally did it. Maybe it was just the year before, I forget, but she was like, oh, we're just going a different direction with this character. And then it was not that long before she was wearing that suit. No, it's absurd. I didn't like that at all. There are some cool things where they get closer to comics and kind of backtrack in somewhat clever ways or interesting ways without it being obnoxious. Like, I kind of like the Starling to Star City thing. I don't have a problem with that. I also think it's kind of neat that later on some things remain called Starling because they've been there for so long. Like Starling National, like the bank, is still called that. They don't change the name of the bank. That's cool.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest issue going forward is just that they
Katie Cassidy, thank you.
You had your Black Canary. Just go with Sarah, because I thought she was a much better character than Laurel ever was.
She's what she should have been in the first place.
Yeah. And I get what they were doing, because with Arrow, the first time we see the person in that hood, it's not Oliver Queen. So their thought is to mirror that. The first Black Canary we see isn't Dinah. I get what their thought was.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Bad idea. Bad idea. You should have, even if that was your original idea going forward, by the time that you get to the point where you're killing off Sarah, you knew how much people love that character. Just leave her as the Black Canary. You know, you made your changes to the source material. Just run with them. No one's going to be, people are going to be upset that she's not Dinah, but they'll get over that, because I don't think at that point a lot of people really cared for Laurel. No,
I'm convinced that part of the reason they did it was to try to address criticisms that she was kind of that show's Lana Lang, right? Like, I think they were trying to, if we make her a superhero, people will like her more. Kind of like the opposite thing in Gotham. If we make Barbara a serial killer, people will like her more. What is the point, Danny? Explain this to me. What is the point of the grounded realism of making sure that you have 5 years of history and training to get Sarah Lance and Oliver Queen to the place where they are later, with all the things they're capable of doing, both in being willing to kill and being good at it? And then Laurel has like a few training montages with
Ted Grant. Don't get me started on that. I was so mad at how they just butchered Ted Grant. I love Wildcat. That is such a cool character, and
I know a lot about. But like, they do that, and then magically she's able to go out on the street and be a superhero. And they made a big deal out of how you can't just put a costume on. At this point in the series, 6 seasons in, they act like if you wear a costume, magically you're more capable of protecting people than the police are. It's absurd. And like, we need this group of costume. There's Eric. We need this group of costume people to protect the city, because we don't have people to do that already.
No, because I was testing out your Rabbit stream. RABB.IT is how you get to that link, by the way. I was watching that. I was like, man, I remember how much fun this show used to be, and how there's a little bit of earnest reality to it. And then you think about how they just kind of gone completely absurd with it. And it makes my heart hurt.
Same here. Yeah, it's sad. Well, that's a nice segue. I get why you picked that as our last question. So here in about 15 minutes or so, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stream a commentary for the first episode of Arrow. So anybody that wants to come back and do that with me, like I said, that video, that live stream is already set up, and the link is there in the description. But it's what is it? RIBB.IT, is that what it is?
/Captain Logan.
/Captain Logan. That's how you get to that stream, and you guys can watch the show with me without having to sync it up with me. And but I'll also be broadcasting here so that you can hear my thoughts, and I'll be creating a commentary. And that video, of course, without the stream, but like a normal commentary, will be available afterwards for anybody that can't make it. So anyway,
real quick, before you go to that, or before you can actually watch what Cap's watching, you have to create an account. It's free. All you do is just, standard email, username, password. You're good to go. But you can't watch someone stream without having an account.
Oh, goodness. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So everyone, if you don't already have a Rabbit account, it's free. It's trustworthy. I've used it. I'm actually the one who recommended it to Cap because of how well it works. You can create an account, and you too, if you are so inclined, can also create your own room. It's not like you have to pay to be able to do anything like that. Everything about the site is free.
And you can also sign in immediately with Facebook and maybe Twitter. I forget, but like I didn't have to make an account. I was able to just use Facebook. So
okay, I've never really signed up to stuff with Facebook. And it's been a while since I created my account, so I forgot that might have even been.
I'm lazy, so I sometimes do that. Yeah,
but yeah, I just wanted to get that in there real quick before people are going there and they're not able to get in and they're trying to figure out what's going on.
That's a really good point. I'll make sure and mention that also at the beginning, if I don't forget of the stream. Okay, so guys, 10:30 my time, exactly 15 minutes from now, I'll be back to do that. And in the meantime, thanks as always, guys, for popping in. Thanks for the super chats, really appreciate it. And we will be back again with you next Wednesday night. We may start an hour earlier. We've been talking about maybe moving the show earlier, so we'll let you know when it gets closer to time what time we're going to stream. And I'm going to play this superhero rewatch thing by ear. I've not decided how that's going to go and if I'm going to keep doing it or how often it's going to happen. I want to try this pilot and see how it goes. So
before you close out, ask, will you be taking questions? He will. Don't ask him in the Rabbit chat, though. Ask him on YouTube.
Yeah, please use the YouTube chat, and you can take the YouTube chat and pop it out of the stream if that makes it easier for you to chat while you're also looking at Arrow. But I want to use that chat instead of the Rabbit chat, and that's what I'll be doing. So the whole point is to interact with you guys while I'm watching the show. So yes, indeed. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We appreciate it. This was a lot of fun as always, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm the iconic Danny Nixon.
That's right, the iconic Danny Nixon. Man, you sound so full of yourself.
So self-aggrandizing. I feel so bad.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.